The question of what testicular size really means is one that many men ponder quietly, rarely voicing their curiosity aloud. It's a topic shrouded in myths, misconceptions, and a fair amount of locker room bravado. Does having larger testicles make you more of a man? Is it a reliable indicator of testosterone levels pumping through your veins? And what about fertility? Does size play a role there? These are legitimate questions, often clouded by misinformation or half-truths. Today we're going to dive deep into the science, cut through the noise, and lay out the facts about what testicular size can and, just as importantly, cannot tell you about your health. By the time you finish reading, you'll have a clear, evidence-based understanding of this fundamental aspect of male anatomy, grounded in medical science. To get to the heart of what testicular size means, we first need to understand the dual roles that testicles play in the male body. Imagine each testicle as a highly specialized factory, humming with activity and running to completely distinct production lines, each with its own critical purpose. The first production line is dedicated to spermatogenesis, the intricate process of creating sperm. This is the fertility function, the part of the factory tasked with ensuring the continuation of the human species by producing the cells that carry half of your genetic code. The second production line focuses on hormone production, specifically the creation of testosterone, the primary male hormone. Testosterone is the chemical powerhouse behind a range of traits and functions, from your sex drive and muscle mass to your bone density and even your mood. These two functions, sperm production and hormone synthesis, happen within the same organ, but they're carried out by different types of cells, and, crucially, they occupy vastly different amounts of space within the testicle. This difference in spatial allocation is the key to unlocking the relationship between testicular size, fertility, and testosterone levels. Let's start with the area where testicular size has the most direct and significant impact: fertility and sperm production. When we talk about the size or volume of a testicle, we're really referring to the amount of internal machinery it contains. The vast majority of a testicle's volume, around 95%, is made up of structures called seminiferous tubules. These tubules are the heart of the sperm production line, tiny coiled tubes where sperm cells are created, nurtured, and matured. The cells lining these tubules, known as germ cells, are the raw materials that eventually transform into mature sperm, capable of fertilizing an egg. Because these sperm-producing tubules account for such a large proportion of the testicle's volume, there's a strong and direct correlation between the size of the testicle and its capacity to produce sperm. Think of it like a factory. A larger factory has more floor space to house more assembly lines, which means it can produce more goods. Similarly, a larger testicle contains more seminiferous tubules, giving it a greater physical capacity to churn out sperm. Conversely, a smaller testicle has less of this internal machinery, which naturally limits its sperm production potential. This isn't just a theoretical concept, it's a well-established principle. In reproductive medicine, when a couple is struggling to conceive, one of the first steps a urologist takes when evaluating the male partner is to assess testicular size and volume during a physical exam. Smaller than average testicles, a condition medically referred to as testicular atrophy, can be a red flag for issues with sperm production. A real-world example of this is a condition called varicocele, which is essentially a cluster of varicose veins in the scrotum. These veins can elevate the temperature inside the testicle, creating an environment that's less than ideal for sperm production. Over time, this increased heat can stress the delicate sperm-producing tubules, causing them to become damaged or shut down entirely. As a result, the testicle may shrink, reflecting a loss of functional seminiferous tubules. This reduction in size often translates to a lower sperm count, which can make conception more challenging. So, the first key takeaway is clear: testicular size is a strong and medically relevant indicator of your body's potential for sperm production. A larger testicular volume generally suggests a higher capacity for fertility, while a significantly smaller volume can point to reduced sperm production. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the second major function of the testicles: testosterone production. This is where one of the most persistent myths about testicular size comes into play, and it's critical to separate fact from fiction. Many people assume that if larger testicles mean more sperm production, they must also mean higher testosterone levels. After all, it seems intuitive: if a bigger factory produces more goods, shouldn't it also produce more of everything else? But this assumption doesn't hold up under scrutiny. The link between testicular size and testosterone production is, at best, very weak and often unreliable. To understand why, let's revisit our factory analogy and zoom in on the specifics of how testosterone is made. While 95% of the testicle's volume is dedicated to the sperm-producing seminiferous tubules, Testosterone is produced by a different set of cells called Leydig cells. These cells are scattered in the small spaces between the tubules, almost like support staff working in the gaps of the main production lines. Here's the critical point. Leydig cells make up only about 5% of the testicle's total volume, because they occupy such a tiny fraction of the organ space. The overall size of the testicle tells you very little about the number or efficiency of these testosterone-producing cells. You could have a large testicle packed with seminiferous tubules, but a relatively small or underperforming population of Leydig cells, resulting in low testosterone levels. On the flip side, a man with smaller than average testicles might have a small but highly efficient group of Leydig cells that work overtime, producing normal or even high levels of testosterone. The efficiency of these cells is regulated by signals from the brain, specifically from the pituitary gland, which sends hormonal instructions to the Leydig cells to ramp up or scale back testosterone production. This process is far more about the quality and responsiveness of the cells than the physical size of the testicle itself. This distinction is crucial because it debunks the myth that bigger testicles automatically mean higher testosterone or greater manliness. Testosterone levels are determined by how well your Leydig cells function, not by how much space your testicles take up. For example, a man with large testicles might still experience symptoms of low testosterone such as fatigue, low libido, or difficulty building muscle if his Leydig cells aren't performing efficiently. Conversely, a man with smaller testicles could have perfectly normal testosterone levels if his Leydig cells are firing on all cylinders. This is why testicular size is not a reliable indicator of testosterone levels, and why assumptions about size equating to hormonal prowess are misleading. Beyond fertility and testosterone, discussions about testicular size often touch on broader concerns about male health, particularly sexual performance. Many men worry about their ability to achieve and maintain strong erections, and this concern often gets tangled up with questions about testicular size or testosterone. While testosterone plays a role in libido, it's not the sole factor in sexual performance. Issues like erectile dysfunction can stem from a variety of causes, including blood flow problems, stress, or other medical conditions, none of which are directly tied to testicular size. For those grappling with performance concerns, there are natural approaches that target the root causes of these issues without relying on pills, pumps, or invasive procedures. One such approach is a simple, 7-second home remedy that addresses the underlying physiological factors behind male performance challenges. This method, grounded in science, focuses on improving blood flow and hormonal balance naturally. For those interested in exploring this further, resources like short, informative videos can provide more details on how it works. These resources are often accessible online, offering practical insights for men looking to boost their confidence and performance without medical interventions. Let's bring all of this together and distill the practical implications of what we've covered. The relationship between testicular size and male health is nuanced, and it's not about vague notions of manliness or masculinity. It's about two specific biological functions: sperm production and testosterone synthesis. If your primary concern is fertility, then testicular size is indeed a relevant factor, because the vast majority of the testicle's mass is devoted to the seminiferous tubules. Larger testicles generally indicate a greater capacity for sperm production, while smaller testicles may suggest a lower capacity. If you and your partner are struggling to conceive, and you've noticed that your testicles seem small or have decreased in size over time, this is a valid observation to share with a healthcare provider. It's a physical clue that could warrant further investigation, starting with a semen analysis to assess sperm count and quality. However, if your concern is testosterone, whether it's about low energy, reduced sex drive, or other symptoms, focusing on testicular size is a red herring. The size of your testicles tells you almost nothing about your testosterone levels. Instead, the real indicators of low testosterone are the symptoms you experience: persistent fatigue, a noticeable drop in libido, difficulty maintaining erections, loss of muscle mass, or mood changes like irritability or depression. If these symptoms sound familiar, the size of your testicles is irrelevant. The only way to confirm low testosterone is through a blood test ordered by a doctor, which measures your hormone levels directly. This test is simple, straightforward, and far more reliable than any visual assessment of testicular size. To summarize, the size of your testicles tells a specific story, but you need to know how to interpret it correctly. It's primarily a story about fertility, not testosterone. Larger testicles suggest a greater potential for sperm production, while smaller testicles may indicate a reduced capacity. But when it comes to testosterone, the story isn't written in size, it's written in how you feel and confirmed through medical testing. Myths and visual guesswork have no place in assessing your health. If you have concerns about fertility, hormones, or any other aspect of your well-being, the most important step is to consult a healthcare professional. They can provide accurate information, order the appropriate tests, and guide you toward the right solutions for your specific situation. This topic, while sensitive, is critical for men to understand without the cloud of misinformation. Testicular size is just one piece of the puzzle, and it's not the defining factor of your health or masculinity. By focusing on the science and seeking professional guidance when needed, you can gain clarity and confidence about your body, whether your concerns are about fertility, testosterone, or sexual performance. The answers lie in evidence-based medicine, not in myths or assumptions. If you found this information helpful, consider sharing it with others who might benefit from a clearer understanding of this often misunderstood topic. And if you have questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to a doctor or urologist. They're there to help you navigate these issues with expertise and care.